It's your girl, Nobulali Tangazele. Oh, this scarf and the South African flag. I'm greeting you as a fourth time champion of the Rugby World Cup. Very humble greeting, of course, but yeah, congratulations to the Boka. I can't tell you how life-changing that experience has been for a lot of us in South Africa on a personal level, but national level as well. And congratulations to New Zealand for making it to the finals, but go Boka for taking it home. So this is another episode where I'm going to be talking about story and how I use it as a superpower in the various things that I do. And this week I thought to talk about how I use story in research. I know, right? Research sounds so boring, but it need not be. Everyone at Sprint Valley and of course at Gibbs knows that I'm very passionate about research because it's an opportunity for me to feed some of the cravings that I have. I'm very curious. I thought to use Freytag's pyramid that I've covered for the past 2 weeks to talk about how the different plot points are something that I use when I'm conducting research. And to make it relevant to you, what I thought I'd do is actually give you an action learning project that I used to frame a study that I developed. I love Amapiano, as you have noticed, and this week's song is by DJ Waffles, and it's the name of the song is Yup. And I love the song because I love DJ Waffles. Okay, so basics first. What is autoethnography? So I choose to use autoethnography because autoethnography is an approach to research that says I am actually going into a world that might be foreign to me and I am going to be the participant engaging in a study. Ethnography, which is a sibling to autoethnography, is when I go into a space that is unfamiliar to me to observe a community of people doing something in their natural habitat, context, or sphere of work. But the reason I wanted to use autoethnography within the Amapiano space is because I was really curious about what it is that Amapiano is doing globally, but also the potential it has. So from an exposition perspective, one could say that I was really keen to understand the context in which Amapiano was being experienced by others. I wanted to know who the key players are, who the participants engaging in the Amapiano genre are, what the history is, and any existent literature that might present about the genre. The inciting incident for why I wanted to do this research was two-pronged. Is cultivating new audiences, creating events, but also boosting economies in emerging markets as well as developed ones. So that was the inciting incident. The rising action when it comes to research involves conducting research and looking at what it is that already exists. So part of this was desktop research as well as interviews, but also physically getting to travel. I had such an amazing time collecting data. In Ghana, I got to go to Afro Nations as well as Afrochella, now called Afro Future. And there I got to see how an entire city, Accra, can be taken over by a movement that is music. So I attended the very first Amafest that took place in the UK, and that was an opportunity to see what a large-scale event focused solely on Amapiano as a genre looks, which artists they bring in, why, what the lineup looks, as well as how audiences react, what they're wearing, what they're doing, and also what they're drinking, and how it is boosting the economy in that area. Then I went to South Africa, which is home, and I got an opportunity to engage with Amapiano musicians. I got to stage manage a show. I've also got to MC a show. So I had an opportunity to look from the outside in as well as from the inside out. And with the two artists, while they're not necessarily mainstream Amapiano artists, they do both have Amapiano songs as part of their discography. So they were really good individuals to observe, especially with how different genres that they have produced are engaged with and what Amapiano does to their set. So that was the rising action. The climax for me is always data analysis. It's always challenging, but also a lot of fun because this is where I get to look at what it is that I've experienced, reconcile it with what the literature is saying, and then review what it is that it means as insights. So this is why that piano event is happening on the 17th of November, because I want to say, this is what I was interested in. This is what it can do for industry, but also practitioners. This is what I think is of value in the value chain or the ecosystem of Amapiano. Then the falling action is obviously the discussion, tying the insights together. So the catastrophe in my instance was that sometimes when I would be out in the field, because it is a new genre, because it's something that I am exposing myself to as well, there are areas where you realize, shucks, I should have done a little bit more prep before going into the field, or maybe I should have conducted a little more interviews with this subject matter experts and things like that, which is okay because learning is lifelong, and this is the first part of my study. It's explorative in nature, so there is an opportunity then for me to continue with the study. And this brings me to the denouement, or the resolution. So when it comes to research, this is the conclusion. And where I am currently is putting all the data together, reviewing my insights, and saying, how does what I've learned help the academy? How does what I've learned help the practitioner? But also, this is only the beginning. I realized that this was just scratching the surface. So I really want to know, how does what I've learned actually enable me to then continue with further research? So what this includes for me as a resolution is seeking funding, seeking further participants to engage with, continuing to attend events, continuing my notes and observations and the likes, and beginning Freytag's pyramid once again. So in a nutshell, in sum, how would I describe Freytag's pyramid as a storytelling device that enables us to conduct research, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's for scholarly practice, or just for one's personal gain? I would say that exposition gives you the literature review, the layout of the land, as well as what's happening. If you are in the workplace and there's a problem that you see, or innovation that you want to conduct, or an opportunity for growth in the strategy, you too could actually use autoethnography within the organization to say, what is the challenge? Where's the opportunity? The inciting incident is an opportunity for where you can grow the organization, make meaningful change, or innovate, or bring a solution, or bring a new product into the market. Then the rising action are the tools that you're going to use and the instruments that you're going to use to collect the data. The climax is the analysis of this data and reviewing what insights you might be able to gain from your data. Falling action is pulling it all together and reviewing what it is that the insights are for your different stakeholders. And then the catastrophe are the limitations. What do you think, given a second chance, you could have done better with the research? And then lastly, the denouement speaks to what next. Do you present it to your board of directors? Do you present it to your line manager? Do you present it internally and show what it is that you're doing? So I used autoethnography for this Amapiano research, but broadly I used a framework that we actually use at Gibbs, which is the action learning projects, where we take actions, we go into a certain context and action research so that we can learn from that project. And even within Sprint Valley, we use a lot of ethnography as well as qualitative and quantitative research. And that's where we go into an organization, partner with the individual that is the sponsor, as well as the employees, and ask them, what is the challenge, what is the opportunity, and how can we actually work together to go through Freytag's pyramid to understand where there's opportunities as well as limitations, and how we can inculcate or integrate this into one's strategy. So that in a nutshell is how Freytag's pyramid is something that I use almost on a daily basis for research and reflection as well. But I will also be talking about how this framework informed what I learned about Amapiano and the value that it can create for culture brands. With that being said, have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you next week, where I'll be talking about how Freytag's pyramid can actually also be applied in the area of strategy. Thank you very much from me, Nobulali Tangazele. Happy Friday!